This podcast is brought to you by our supporters at Patreon. Did you know that if you signed up right now at our $5 tier at patreon.com/dissectingthe80s, you would get 24 bonus episodes, nearly 34 hours of additional content of this show. And I'm talking some pretty heavy hitters, movies like Die Hard, Dirty Dancing, Flashdance, Lost Boys, She's All That, Adventures in Babysitting, Bill and Ted, Excellent Adventure, Back to the Future, The Thing, Ghostbusters, Footloose, Lethal Weapon, Tremors, My Blue Heaven, Halloween, and so much more. Visit patreon.com/dissectingthe80s to find out how you can get more of this podcast that you're listening to.
I forgot Tremors was a Patreon.
Among many other wonderful films. Welcome to Dissecting the 80s. I am Trip Lano, one half of the mega podcasting powers, and with me, as always, the man in charge of this month, who is very good at one of the things in this movie's title, the Macho Man Drew.
Andrew Lano. I mean, I feel like I could make some nightmares.
I wouldn't commit. I feel like that could be an insulting thing.
Oh, and you are a bully.
So I just wanted to... That's right. As established previously by a person who reviewed the show, I am a bully.
That's canon.
It is
not
canon.
to be confused with
canonically.
Capital C canon.
Canonically, I am a bully. It is, of course, the very not sweatily named month of the show where Andrew's in charge. Andrew programs the show in the month of April, APTSITMOA, and we're starting with a doozy. We watched Butcher, Baker, Nightmare Maker, and you know what that means.
We gotta go back. We gotta go dissect the 80s. It's your progressive slasher. Something about your progressive slasher.
When the mega powers explode.
I'm talking about the 80s. Oh, yeah.
Great Scott!
Cream of the crop. Oh, yeah.
Mega powers, yeah!
When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
So I wanted to drop a few actual pieces of useful information at the top so that I can flip my notes back to the beginning, because I had some spare space, so I wrote some things down. So this is kind of dry start, and I apologize for that.
I usually put those on an index card and just stick them somewhere so that way I can just have them as a reference point.
I normally do a little sticky note, but I had normally I'm 8.5 by 11 front and back. Sometimes I'm getting into the margins. This is a full front and back, a full front, and then a half a back. I have a lot of tangents and ideas for this, so we'll see how long this podcast episode is.
I'm fine with a longer one once in a while, especially since, we might not get all the episodes out this month.
Yeah. Schedules and things might get astray at the end of APTSITMOA. So I first want to say... the man credited with this directing this is William Asher, who's a TV legend. And if you look up his IMDb or his Wikipedia page, it's every television show you've heard of from the 60s, 70s.
Did he do that that show that Mom and Dad recently got into about the
He did not do Adam 12. I would have been a little excited about that. I have to say, Adam 12, delightful low stakes television. It's there is no stakes to anything.
Set in a police station.
Yes, exactly. They solve the crime it's a 20-minute show, which is bizarre. I when we watched the first one, I was like, wait, it's done? And they're like, yeah, it's a half hour. And I was like, but it's a cop show. Because it's not really, I guess it's a comedy, but it's not
an the time comedy, I would say.
Yeah. It's not like a jokey joke. Like Lucy has jokes in it. This doesn't necessarily have a lot of jokes in it.
Yeah, or Brooklyn Nine-Nine is...
Right.
A cop comedy show.
So I guess it's a drama, but it's 22 minutes long, but the things are resolved instantaneously. There's insane it's a very delightful, silly show to watch. I was surprised by how much I enjoyed watching the episodes we watched. But he did not do that. However, let me rattle these off for you here. I Love Lucy, The Thin Man, The Twilight Zone.
Did he direct a prominent episode?
I didn't check which Twilight Zone because there were so many of these. For all I know, he did the Lucy with the chocolates that everybody knows. You know what I mean? Bewitched, Gidget, The Dukes of Hazzard, a show called Here Comes Boomer from 1980 that is about a stray dog that a family adopts that ran for 2 seasons.
Okay. Wait, didn't you tell me about that one already? Didn't you shoehorn
you're
that.
You're thinking of a Canadian show, the name of which eludes me right now, but I made you watch the opening.
Yeah, the
too.
credits.
It might be called Bandit. It's a Canadian show that ran for a long time in the 70s and 80s, and a lot of the movies we do with Canadian actors, they were on it.
Gotcha.
He also did every show that was just the name of a person. You know how if you go back to old TV, it's the Dinah Shore show.
Yeah, the Patty
Sally,
Duke show.
Whatever. Yeah, Patty, he did both of those.
Dick Van Dyke?
Did literally both of those. No Dick Van Dyke, but the blank show for both.
Patty Duke show was about
then,
Patty Duke and her identical cousin, by the way, in case you didn't know that.
Identical cousin?
Yeah. That very common normal thing.
Why wouldn't it be identical sister?
I don't know, but it's her identical cousin.
We can't go down that rabbit hole on this episode.
If you want that to be a Patreon of us just talking weird shit, I'm happy to do that Patreon episode, y'all.
Yeah, well, let us know. And then the other, Jimmy McNichol, who's the actor at the lead of this, Christy McNichol, his sister, also was an actor.
Oh,
and,
yeah, I know her.
They did music together, but he was of that era where they were just this guy's a star now, and they just decided it basically.
They're he's a transom. He's attractive, isn't he? I meant attractive and handsome got blended together in that one.
Yes. But it's just in a 3-year period, this guy's in 8 television shows and records an album and goes on tour. It's it's just all right. Yeah, it's truly almost like the Muppets standard rich and famous contract situation that someone was Mr. or Mrs. McNichol? Sorry, actually, no, it's just Mrs. McNichol. Mr. McNichol ran out in the family. I did learn that on Wikipedia. Sorry. Mrs. McNichol, both your kids are going to be stars. Here's the contracts. Let's whisk them away and send them over to Europe.
Pump full of Quaaludes.
Yeah, exactly. So,
what is Christy McNichol's big thing? Because I know that name.
Oh, don't quiz me.
Well, I thought you might know,
I did not.
She's her big movie is blah, blah, blah.
I was so busy focusing on the Jimmy McNichol of it all that I lost the Christy McNichol of it all.
I'm sure mom is probably screaming at her phone.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure several of our listeners are you fucking idiots. Are you looking it up? I was not.
You go ahead.
Because I thought that's. Oh, no. I'm not going to look it up. I'm just going to say, we'll deal with not knowing Christy McNichol.
I will take the 2 seconds to go to Wikipedia because I have the app.
But I just wanted to start with some light, boring business that I thought was interesting.
Huh. Not much that jumps out.
I think she might have been more famous as a singer. It's possible.
She was in a TV drama called Family. She was in Empty Nest, apparently, which I didn't.
Okay.
Never.
They sang together, and then they did. Oh, by the way, William Asher, 131 episodes of Bewitched, so that's most of it. I would think.
As a director.
Yes.
Okay, I've actually watched because my boyfriend is like that show because his parents used to watch it. So I was like, It's on something for free. Yeah, I'll watch. It's fun.
I feel like we did a number of Bewitched in the era of watching Nick at Night.
I think so.
His Twilight Zone was Mr. Beavis, which is the end of season 1. After losing his job, his car, and apartment on the same day, an eccentric loser gets a new lease on life from his guardian angel, but there's a price for keeping it.
Oh, I don't know that one.
That has. I'm not sure I recognize any of these gents in this. A lot of old guys in
3-piece suits,
in suit jackets. Yeah. Anyway, we should get into this because the opening of this movie has one of the wildest things that I've ever seen, and I do want to talk about that as well. So, but first we meet a lady with, some of the wildest eyebrows I've ever seen in a film or a television
show. They're pretty wild.
How could you leave a child with these eyebrows? This is not a person who is taking good care of themselves.
I agree fully. I wouldn't do it. But also, this has got the most generic as hell dialogue exposition in the beginning. It feels very Chat GPT of
oh, for sure.
This is your aunt, and we are leaving you here with her to go visit grandmother and grandfather across the country. Yeah, and half of it's ADR'd.
Oh, yeah, it is fully done weeks later. Maybe it's the same people. Maybe it's just the 2 ADR creators doing it.
Yeah.
I would believe anything.
And it ends with a spooky music freeze frame, which I will... So this movie lets you know off the bat who the villain is. Do you feel like it would be a better movie if you didn't know who the villain was the whole time?
So here's the thing I will say. The movie gets so convoluted about the villain's backstory that, like, any of this being shaded earlier, I think would have been an improvement. So I almost feel like they don't tell you enough.
Oh, okay. So you
because
it wasn't enough to know that the aunt is clearly a villain in this piece.
I mean, she looked like a villain, right? Like, clearly she looked like a villain, and then we start to get the pieces. But there are multiple third act twist reveals, like, in succession that I was just like, wait, what? You know, each of them alone was significant enough to be a third act twist.
I agree.
But that you just kept piling up. It's like, you know, you go to a place now that does a smash burger and you get the one patty, or if you want more burger, they just keep stacking up those patties.
Oh, yeah.
This is like an 8 patty smash burger that is like a teeter. They have to put a skewer in there, and it's like teetering on the way to the table. And they're like, I don't know why you ordered this, sir. Like, how could you possibly eat it?
And I want to say, I like this movie a lot. This is my first time seeing it. I like it a lot. I just have
I enjoyed it quite
questions,
a bit. I had a lot of
qualms,
things
squibbles,
to say.
statements.
Yes, yeah. It is a true example of you have to see this to believe it, because it's just
like
unhinged.
I at the risk of, you know, our numbers, if you haven't watched this yet, it is on AMC Plus. So it's probably on AMC somewhere. So you might be able to watch it somewhere. It's pretty easily accessible. I encourage you to watch this movie. It's 90 minutes long. We both recommend it, and then come back and listen to this podcast, because you're not going to believe what we say. It's going to sound
Right.
like we're both making things up.
Yes. The baby gets handed to the weird eyebrow lady, who we will learn is the aunt. We'll come back
Asterisk.
to that. Asterisks. And then they get in the car, they start driving, and we immediately go into, like, high stakes. The brakes don't work. Oh shit. And I'm trying to find where I wrote all this down, because it is crazy. And it's possible that I wrote this down like halfway through these notes. So we may come back to this with more information, but there was originally someone was hired to direct this movie, and they got Jan De Bont to be the director of photography. Jan De Bont shot a ton of really great movies over the years. He also directed Twister. He's a DP who also directed stuff. He directed Twister. Like, he's a guy he knows where to put the camera. He can direct really solid action, but he DP'd a bunch of really...
We're collecting quite a list of, like, favorite DPs. I feel like not many people in podcasts have, like, oh, these are our favorite DPs.
Yes. So as a director, he did Speed and Twister, like, both really solid mid-90s action films.
Speed is the bus.
The bus with Keanu and Sandy. And then as DP, Roar, previous episode, where he got very injured on Roar. I forget what the injury was, but I think he got bit by a tiger.
I think it's safe to say it was a large cat bite.
Yeah. Cujo, coming soon to this podcast. Well, not soon, but eventually,
yeah.
You know, coming to
D-Wall. We should have like a D-Wall, like in May, we should have like your favorite mom month and D. Wallace movies.
Yeah, or maybe her birthday, something like that. We gotta find D. Wallace. Die Hard, Basic Instinct.
Okay.
Hunt for Red October, which I have only ever seen parts of on cable, but I know people like. That's also a McTiernan movie. And Lethal Weapon 3, which I don't know how we feel about it. I haven't watched the sequels after I watched the first one.
I think I'm fine.
But yeah, probably. But a lot of movies like that were
well regarded by lots of people.
Well regarded, and yeah. He did the remake of The Haunting.
Oh, the Haunting of like the Hill House one, or is that the Catherine Zeta-Jones one?
I believe that's right. Yeah,
because two of those movies came out. It's The Haunting of Hill House and The House on Haunted Hill. Both got remakes within like less than a year of each other, and that like slick, glossy early 2000s time period.
I watched both of them back to back on one day.
They're so fun, but I can't remember. I could not tell you which is which. One of them has Jeffrey Rush and the Hulk roller coaster, and one of them does not.
Yes, that's right. A couple other ones: Ruthless People, previous episode, and one that I have not seen, but I'm kind of dying to, Black Rain, which is Michael Douglas action thriller. The cover of it is Michael Douglas astride a motorcycle in a leather jacket with black sunglasses.
Is this 80s Michael Douglas?
Oh, yeah, 89. So, future episode potentially. And Flatliners, which I, again, have not seen, but I am very curious.
And that one had a remake, too, that I thought about seeing, but didn't.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But anyway, so we get this. You got this director. He hires Jan De Bont, very talented action director, a guy who knows where to put the camera. They film this incredibly good opening sequence, and almost immediately after that sequence is completed, they both get fired. So they're like, "Well, this is ours now. Now we'll hire someone." I just said his name, William Asher, TV guy. He can come in, get this thing done cheap, and then he completes the movie. But they just leave this opening sequence in, directed and composed by two completely different creative people.
I mean, if you spend that much, they clearly spent a lot of money on this opening sequence.
Yes,
and then they were like,
did.
"This isn't the movie." Like, Friday the 13th? We want that. Like, we want that.
But imagine if you were popping on a Friday the 13th movie and it opened with like a really, really good action sequence. And then the rest of it was like a standard Friday the 13th level movie. You'd be like, that one's pretty good. It's got that like great opening sequence. I feel like this is a genius tactic that more
the problem is that like when you think of genius opening, you think like Scream or like, or Lights Out, I think did the same thing where it's like, the opening could be a like YouTube short film that was like a proof of concept, essentially.
Lights Out's film opening is basically the short.
Okay, but that's what I figured.
It's not. I don't think it's in a house. I think it's in an office.
Oh, it's the warehouse, isn't it? In the beginning.
Yeah.
Because that short, I went through
very scary.
I went through like a really heavy period of watching YouTube shorts. Found some really good ones. My favorite is one where this guy is driving and he crashes into a mannequin and he runs through this town and it's full of mannequins. Like
that feels Twilight Zone.
Yeah, and so like he runs into the diner and it's all these mannequins at tables and like a mannequin at the grill. And he's like, and he turns around to look outside and there's mannequins now like at his car looking at the mannequin on the ground. And he turns around and all the mannequins in the diner are looking at him. So it's like a lot of that. And he runs through.
Yeah.
Finally, he just like gets a baseball bat and beats the shit out of mannequins. And then the ending is that they were all real people and he's just crazy.
Oh, okay.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah. No, that sounds like a pretty solid short. All right. So car's out of control. We're careening around. And then we get like a truly hysterical. We have the mother is like in a full blown panic. This scene goes on has so much air in it. It's there's two brutal deaths that happen here. First, he gets annihilated.
So I'm very confused because he's the steering column isn't messed with. It's the brake, and it's a
but
it's a windy.
I thought the car had no power.
Steep downhill.
Yeah,
and so we see him steering the car, and then when it's convenient for the movie, he can't steer the car anymore. And then he crashes into the logs from one of the Final Destination movies.
Yes, in a really gnarly, like he gets decapitated. It's pretty.
Well, not
pretty
even.
nasty.
He just gets. They clearly didn't like loosen the head from the dummy, so it just gets knocked backwards. And I was like, come on, guys, someone get in there with a wrench.
There's a death almost identical to this in Eli Roth's Thanksgiving, to the point where I was like, I bet he saw this movie and that's directly a reference to this.
Probably. I skipped that one. It's too yucky. The trailer was too yucky for me.
It is too yucky, but it is like very telegraphed when it's going to be yucky, so you can just close your eyes.
I guess, but like the corn cob thing was in the trailer and I was like, those are for corn.
The corn cob thing gave me the heebie-jeebies, but it's not that gross in the movie.
Okay.
I will tell you it's watchable. My wife was like closing her eyes a lot, and I was like, I'm just going to not close my eyes. The only one that I found way gross was the one with the truck, which is out of nowhere.
Is it this? It's like the ripped off, quote unquote.
It's this. Yeah. But it's like the Eli Roth's version of it, so it's just, soup goes everywhere stuff. But I thought it was pretty good. I hope he makes another one. Honestly, it's like
a Thanksgiving
exactly
2
or
just like another.
No, Thanksgiving 2 is like they kind of set it up for it, but it's kind of got the like, it's not as good as a Scream, but it's kind of got the like who's the killer, who done itness going for it. I liked it. I liked it. It's very easy to guess who the killer is if you've seen horror movies. It's not like
Scream wasn't. So I will say Scream was a good mystery the first time you watched it.
The first Scream is a genuinely good whodunit, and also cheats like crazy, because like if you start trying to do the like string of like which time is it which person and which thing, you're like, wait a minute, that ain't right. That's not it.
Which one was outside
Also,
Sydney's house in broad daylight for no reason?
Right. Also, they're like wildly different heights, which should be very obvious who's who in there.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's fine. I like that movie very much. So he gets decapitated. Now the mother is panicked. Now we're on for like a full
They're
Family Guy
stuck
length.
to the truck.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, this is fine. Like, he's dead. It's not fine, but like the car is not careening anymore.
Right.
Apparently it still is. Because it
this is like a Family Guy joke.
It fishtails off the edge of the cliff.
Yes.
And then goes like ass over tea kettle down the cliff.
Yes.
Into the water, into the ravine full of water.
And then the photo of the child floats out of the car and on the river, and we hold that for like a beat.
I'm like, oh, we're gonna fade to black, and it's gonna be like
a beat. Nope, you're wrong. It doesn't do that.
There's a fucking car explosion.
It's truly like a Family Guy joke. Like if you were doing this as a comedy edit, you'd have her go like, ah, ah,
yes, she would take rips.
And then you'd see the photo because the car, it's just flipping forever.
It's like the death becomes her stair fall. It's just, it goes on so long.
Yes. And then I can't read my own handwriting.
We got to 14 years later.
Something candle?
Yeah, okay. So, I wrote the same note because we cut to 14 years later and Aunt Cheryl is waking up in bed and she has like a votive tea candle on her nightstand lit. And I was like, well, when did she light this?
These sheets are made of lighter fluid. Like they are.
No, not even that. Those things don't last 8 hours. A little votive tea candle is not going to last 8 hours while you're sleeping.
Yeah, maybe she did like, maybe she in the middle of the night had to pee, and so that's how she like wanders to the bathroom.
She lights the candle, puts it in the holster.
She puts on the holster, and then she puts on her little stocking cap, and she shuffles down the hallway. Spirit, no! But incredible fire hazard. There's so many times in this movie where there is just a thoroughly dangerous amount of candles are lit.
Oh yeah, they waste no time giving creepy, weird incest.
Yes, yeah. She starts looking through the kid's wallet. She finds a condom in there, which, like, I feel like as a parent, you're like, well,
at least you're being safe.
I mean, this is the best of all possible worlds, I suppose. You know?
She sees a picture of his girlfriend and gets like real frowny. This actress is very much like a Betsy Palmer in Friday the 13th situation. Like,
it's fully a cross between Betsy Palmer and Norma Desmond, to me.
And also Baby Jane Hudson. Like, it is.
That one I don't know, but I believe
it's
you.
Pulling from so many like Psycho Biddy, Grand Dame Guignol, hagsploitation, like inspiration kind of stuff. Because this woman is like swinging for the fences. She's given like truly what could be like Toni Collette in Hereditary, like level of I am committing and making big choices that are impactful. Apparently, she didn't watch this movie till like 2008.
I could see that.
It was a Betsy Palmer. She was like, no, I didn't. I thought no one was going to see this. No one really did see it.
Yeah, I was just trying to get a check, you see.
Yeah. She also is the voice of the villain in the Chipmunk Adventure.
Is that right?
Yeah, the two like your Eastern European people, like brother and sister, that send the chipmunks on their adventure. She's the lady.
Yeah. Oh, all right. The kid's asleep, and she starts doing this like incredibly intimate back scratching, and like your skin crawls.
It's like, do you remember that? What's the Sleepwalkers? That Stephen King movie?
Yes, but no. So fill me in.
It's about
I owned this for a long time, and I definitely watched it once. I just don't really remember.
It's about an incestuous demon mother and son couple.
Oh, okay. Sure.
It's fully just this.
As you do.
But like in that one, they're both into it. They're both like on board for it and want it. This is just one-sided, but like it's the same vibes.
Yeah. We cut to the kitchen. She's canning carrots by chopping unpeeled carrots, and then I guess is going to can them with the peels on. Not the choice I would make. Also, not even
chopping any kind of uniformly. I don't have good knife skills.
Just like
she's doing Carrie White's mom in that chopping scene in Carrie.
Yes. Yeah, truly just like any old shape will do. Let's get this moving here. They have their first just like truly insane interaction where she's talking to the kid and it's like she fluctuates from 11 to 3. It's just like
those are her
boom, boom,
those
boom.
are a little low. It's a broken slider. Like it clicks all the way to 11 and we try and push it back, it jumps all like it's a broken slider.
Yes. Yeah, it's either here or here, and sometimes in the same sentence you hit both twice.
Oh yeah. Also, she also reminds me of the aunt in the beginning of Sleepaway Camp.
Oh,
that
sure,
crazy.
sure, yeah.
I wanted to say Aunt Angela, but it's the aunt goes Angela.
Yeah,
she's a doctor.
I don't remember the aunt's name. Yeah, I don't remember her name either, but she is very similar to that too. Obviously, this is a pretty standard horror archetype.
Oh yeah.
There's a really funny crosscut.
It's a great transition. I loved that.
Yes. What do they do in the kitchen? I forget.
No, it's him outside. He goes, I have to go pick up Julie on the way to school, and he gets in a moped. And I'm like, you're picking up someone on a moped? Okay. And then as he like drives by, he like throws a basketball up at the hoop in the driveway.
Okay. Yes.
And as it hits the driveway hoop or backboard, we cut to the high school with a basketball hitting the backboard.
And we see Bill Paxton playing on the team,
Baby Bill,
who was supposed to be the main role, and just he
wasn't a star yet. He hadn't been.
Yeah,
he hadn't been. Yeah, we didn't. Well, no one told us he was a star yet.
Right. Also, I thinking about this movie with Bill Paxton's kind of like maniac bouncy ball energy. It seems like it would be hard to.
Well, I think the problem is it is then Aunt Cheryl and Bill Paxton just trying to one up each other.
Yes, exactly.
It's not good.
Exactly what I'm saying. Yeah. The movie would be at a 14 at all times.
Yes. Probably be talked about
and I
more
like
often,
Bill Paxton.
I will say. It probably would have ended up being talked about more often.
Oh, you're probably right. Yeah.
They're wearing
R.I.P. to a king, as we did not say to Mr. Paxton.
R.I.P. Yes.
Yeah. R.I.P. King. He says that he has queer hands, which I don't fully understand.
Well, it's the gay thing.
I don't. The homophobia, I understand what we're doing. I just think the very specific that he has queer hands is weird to me.
Don't touch me with your queer hands. I mean, I feel like if you replace queer with like black or Jewish or Asian,
yeah. No,
people are always awful.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if a very straight man touched Bill Paxton, he would also be upset.
Oh, yeah.
It's what I was...
They're also... Because it is 1980, they're filming this in 1980.
Also, he says that to him immediately after he saw him kiss a girl.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
He literally witnesses him kiss a woman, and then he says he's homosexual.
While they're all dressed like extras in a Village People music video.
Yeah.
Like it's the split shorts where it's like only attached at the waistband, but the bottom is just like a scalloped edge, and it's like, really?
1.8 inch inseam.
Yeah, like my ideal style, but like, hey, I think the call may be coming from inside the house, y'all.
Right. Meanwhile, the auntie, she blows off a date setup from
aggressively anti-date.
Yeah, and this part is what really killed me because this woman, I forget her name, but she's like the best friend of the crazy
the neighbor. I love her. She's so good.
So I think their performance is pretty good, but this character is like way too prominent in this movie for what ends up happening to her. Like she doesn't need this much time. And there's a point at which the two women are talking and we hear car horns, which at first I thought were just like actual traffic driving by this house while they were filming. And I was like, oh, is it me in the audience being like, hey, we get it. Move it along. Next scene, please. But no, it's the husband. Her husband is like, impatiently in the car.
Also, I know his girlfriend, Billy is the lead boy. Jimmy McNichol.
Yes.
Jimmy?
Yes.
His girlfriend, as an adult, made a decent career as like the teacher in a lot of Nickelodeon and Disney Channel shows.
Oh, okay. All right. Good for her.
She was like a long-term character on Drake and Josh as their teacher, but a lot of times she was just like, oh, this is my teacher for an episode, and then never seen or heard from again. But she was in an episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch where she was a witch.
Oh,
a secret witch.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Did Sabrina like find it out, I'm guessing?
Because Mr. Martin Mull she's Martin Mull's ex-wife, who's a secret witch who was bewitching him without his knowledge.
Oh, okay.
There's a whole thing.
Yeah. Jimmy Nickel comes home and he's like, "Hey, I got offered a full ride scholarship." And the aunt is like, "You can't leave."
The aunt says, "College is for rich kids
full
and
witch.
people with brains. You won't fit in there." Which, like,
Yeah.
great dig, great reading.
Yeah. Also, jocks, which he clearly is one if he's getting a full ride.
Yeah, because he says, "Well, I thought you said we couldn't afford it, but now we can with this." And she's like, "Well, we still can't afford it." It's like, "Hey, full ride, lady."
Yeah. I mean, I guess you need you might need some extra scratch, but it's like, he can get himself a campus job.
Yeah.
It's fine. And she starts freaking out. "Oh, the things I sacrificed for you. You're getting a job."
I thought you were supposed to stay here and contribute to the household. I got you this job. She like smashes dinner.
She sends him down to the pickling cellar, and we've got a jar of loose eggs, which is just really horrifying looking on the shelf.
Yeah, because I've always seen the pickled eggs and thought about it, but it's...
Look, I love homemade pickled eggs. I make them with some frequency. I make pickled beets, I put some onions in there, and I put hard-boiled eggs in there. They get this like nice vinegary beet flavor. I love them. But just like, clearish, viscous-looking liquid is not for me. Yeah. She's in a rocking chair making whimpering noises.
She whispers to herself under her breath a lot in this movie.
Yes.
Also, for some unknown reason, all of Wikipedia in this movie says the girlfriend's name is Julia.
Yeah.
It's Julie.
Oh.
All of IMDb and the subtitles in this movie say Julie. So I don't know why all of Wikipedia for some reason
that's
says
pretty
Julia.
weird. Well, maybe it's like the scene, the person has bad hearing, because later on in this movie, there's a scene where a guy says a line that I could not believe was in the movie, and I rewound it 4 times and then had to figure out how to put subtitles on my TV, which we will get to. But
I had that moment, but it wasn't a man.
Like
it was an Aunt Cheryl line that I went, not even the subtitles got this right, so I just have to go with
subtitles. The subtitles got mine. We'll get there.
So she's down in her Norma Bates chair.
Yes, yeah, creaking and rocking.
And she's like, well, now she says something to the effect of like, we'll make him stay. Like it implied that something's gonna go on.
Yes,
because in the next scene she's like giving him a birthday card, and she's saying like, well, good luck with the scholarship. And so he's like, oh, you approve now.
Yeah.
Oh, she also says,
and then she's like, I'm going to go buy your present. And it's like, why are you telling him that? You're telling him you did a bad job.
Yeah, you're bad. She also, we forgot to mention the creepy, like, there's so much creepiness, we're going to miss some of it, but he says, oh, can Julie come over for my birthday dinner? And she goes, no, I'm your date for dinner. And it's like, okay. Because then,
I hate it.
As he walks out of the house, she, like, whispers, like, the camera holds on her, and she's like, and I was like, okay, I get it. We're doing a lot of big swings here.
Is this where she starts humming what sounds like Jesus Christ Superstar? Because
yes.
I could not get over that. Okay.
I was like, she's humming fucking Andrew Lloyd Webber. Not Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Yeah.
Wait.
I don't know. I just know the name.
Yeah, not Andrew Lloyd Webber, I don't think. He did Joseph, not Jesus.
But I backed it up because I was like, she's just humming. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
I was like, that's like very copyrighted. I would
can't do that. Oh, she also said call the TV repairman and send him to the house.
Yes.
It has to be this afternoon because I'm buying your present this morning.
Yeah. So she's like trying to put the moves on the
it's
TV guy.
It's the weirdest, like, quote unquote seduction scene. Like, obviously it's not seduction, but like, she just like.
It sort of kind of is, though. She's like putting on lingerie. She's like doing her makeup in the mirror and like making weird faces.
Lifts her skirt.
It's set up so you think she's doing this for the boy's birthday, which is also horrifying. Yeah.
And then she like lifts her skirt to the repairman, and he's like, no, thank you. And he leaves, and she like rips open her top, and her boobs are out. And she's like, come on, I'll let you do anything. And she keeps like hounding him, and he keeps like, no, I'm leaving.
Yes.
No, I'm leaving. And then all of a sudden he's like, well, fine, suck me off. And she gets very angry. And I was like, what did you want to happen?
Yeah.
What was the end game here?
At the point where it's like, you can do anything you want to me, I was assuming this was going to be pretty transactional and pretty one-sided.
Yeah. And she slaps him and he goes to leave and she stabs him.
Yes.
As
the kid is like watching through the window,
Yeah.
seeing this happen.
And she immediately says he tried to rape me, and it becomes a whole thing.
Yes.
And then
The cops get called.
well, the neighbors come over.
Oh yeah. This is the other part where it's like every time this woman is in the movie for the first like 4 or 5 scenes, stuff is happening off screen that I keep thinking is just like bad filming because they come in and see this and all of a sudden it's like, and I was like, who is this dog? This dog's not in the movie. Why is there all these dogs barking?
Yeah. But I love her, like the neighbor and her husband's relationship with each other. It feels real. Like they feel like real people, which I enjoy.
Yeah. This lady just is kind of a nothing character, and every time she's
I
on
loved
TV,
her.
on the TV,
I was all about her.
I was like, every time she came on, something happened off screen that was representative of me being like, get off the TV!
Have you seen Serial Mom? It's John Waters.
I doubt it.
It's probably
Unless it was, like,
other than
on cable.
Hairspray, probably his most like consumable
normal
film.
normie ass movie.
Yeah, I guess it's still weird as hell. It's Matthew Lillard and
Okay.
Kathleen Turner.
Yeah.
And there's a neighbor character. It's the voice of Mrs. Puff from SpongeBob.
Okay.
But it feels very similar energy of like she's just there. She gives a few lines. She's kind of there for the plot, but like not like she's a very side character energy.
Okay. The blood is smeared all over. And then we go to we see the police. And did you recognize this guy? Not the main cop,
Reg
the smart
from
cop.
Great Outdoors.
Yes. The guy who got struck by lightning 66 times.
In the head.
I was like, whoa, that guy.
I was like, I know that face, not that hair.
Right.
Immediately, they set the tone that the detective. I'm just gonna say nice cop and asshole cop because I don't know rankings.
Well, smart cop at least.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's nice, but he's intelligent.
He's nicer than
comparatively
than the other one.
That's fair.
The asshole cop immediately like established as like a misogynist, a piece of shit.
Yes,
and like so this movie is kind of isn't talked about a lot, but it is talked about in that it is one of the few movies of the time that treats gay people like human beings.
Yes.
Like there's gay characters in this movie and it's not like it's only a major plot point in that people think it's a big deal. But like
right.
The movie the movie doesn't condemn the gay characters at all. There's characters in the movie that do, but the movie itself never feels like it's like, oh, gay people are bad. We want you to take that away from this movie.
Yes. Yeah. And also hadn't seen this before and I try not to, read too much when I'm doing this. And of course I spoiled like a moment with one of the gay characters that annoyed me, but in my head, I thought something different was going to be happening. So I will get to that toward the end of the movie when it comes up.
Okay.
But I was just like, oh, that's going to be like a fun twist. And I was like, oh, it's not really that. Okay. But this guy, the lead detective here is clearly a dude who has seen way too many Columbos because he starts doing the like, I'm going to keep badgering you with questions and trying to get you to like slip up.
Who was the guy in Halloween 3?
Tom Atkins.
He feels like Tom Atkins energy. Not that I think Tom Atkins is an asshole. I get that. But
yeah. I can see what you're saying. He's definitely drawing from the same like broad cop strokes as that performance is. But he's basically like, nah, ma'am, look, we both know you're sorely in need of some dick. So why don't you tell us the truth about what happened here? I don't think you were raped. I don't think you could be raped. I think you're so in need of, well, let's just put it plainly, a good dicking down. That
his dick wasn't even out of his pants.
Yeah. And then he says, and this is the part I had to back it. I truly backed this up 5 times because I was like, that cannot be what he said. And he's like, now look, ma'am, I know you said he touched her boobie, but that can't be what's happening here. And I was like, did he say touched your boobie?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
He sure did.
Also, they're interrogating everyone. They're sitting at the kitchen table covered in blood. Billy goes, I need some air, and goes to step out the front door. And the cop's like, where are you going? And he's like, outside. Like, I'm walking out the door. Like, where am I going? We're surrounded by cops and cop cars.
Yes.
Where do you think I'm going to go? Yeah.
So he like gets him apart from the ants, and he starts doing like a second interrogation of him.
But like,
he's like accusing
literally
him of this.
5 feet from the he could lay down and would barely fill the space between him and the ant. Which, like, if you want to do this,
it's incomprehensible.
you gotta push. Because immediately the ant runs over and is too touchy with her nephew.
Yes.
Yes, I understand. There's
deeply weird
trauma for if she hadn't murdered someone very premeditatively. Although she says she didn't mean to kill him, but whatever.
Yeah, how do you not mean to kill a guy when you plunge a chef
So I think she was
him?
just planning on, like, she just wanted Billy to see her getting quote unquote attacked.
Yeah.
And then because she's a crazy person, she ended up doing a killing.
Yeah.
I think is how we were supposed to interpret that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cheryl's also real quick to say, well, I guess this means Billy can't leave me. And it's like, what? I don't know what that means that.
We cut away from this, and now the ant is just burning a bunch of documents in a fireplace.
Yeah, I was like,
very normal behavior.
Hey, suspicious. Also, they now think, they don't say anything why yet, but they think that Billy killed the guy and Aunt Cheryl is covering, like trying to take the fall.
Right, yeah. She says she's going to make him an apartment in the attic so he has, like, his own space.
Next year, and he starts to be like, well, I might go to college, and she's like, blah, 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 blah.
And then there's a whole big thing about taking a polygraph test.
He's like, well, they want me to take the test, and she's like, I won't let you. And it's like, he didn't do it. We all saw the movie. He didn't do it.
Yeah, he could take the polygraph test because he did. Now, the part where he might be caught in a lie is when he says that, yes, this man committed sexual assault of some kind on my aunt/mother figure. But, how's that going to be useful?
Yeah. Oh, also, I forgot to mention...
The cop is convinced that Jimmy McNichol did the murder and the aunt is taking the rap for it.
Yes.
To try to protect him.
Also, I forgot to mention real quick, when she was humming Jesus Christ Superstar, she's like also doing her hair. And at one point she turns in like profile and her hair is fucking like 2-dimensional.
Yes.
It's like a foam wig. She faces front and it's like got a lot of side volume and she turns and it's like, it's like she fell asleep on an airplane and didn't fluff.
Yeah. There's mice in the attic. We have a dramatic fall down some stairs.
There's also a creepy drawn-on photo of...
Oh, yes.
I think it's... Hang on. Is that in the... Oh, it's in the attic that he finds a creepy drawn-on photo after he does a great fall.
That's right. And then we meet the basketball coach.
Well, and Cheryl says that's your mom. It's an old boyfriend of your mom's who was mean.
Oh, right.
We should say that as an important plot point.
Yes.
Remember that one.
Yes. We meet the coach, and it's implied that the coach and the TV guy, not implied, it's obvious that the coach and the TV guy were in a very committed relationship. They both wore the same ring. Obviously, in this era, they weren't married legally, but it sure seems like these characters were married in spirit.
Deeply committed to each other. And I was like, oh, shit, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then immediately this piece of shit cop is like, well, you should quit and leave town because otherwise you'll get lynched. And I was like, I know the 80s didn't like gay people, but like, I don't think AIDS was a thing yet. So
I feel like it would have been like, this man is corrupting our children. Like, the playbook hasn't changed.
No, obviously not. But like, also, who's gonna prove that he was gay? What proof is there?
The cop, I think, is like, I'm a trusted figure in the community, and I'm gonna tell people that you're a gay man and you were married to the TV guy.
Yeah,
is what I think is the implication.
It could be that.
Meanwhile, back at the house, the aunt smashes open a wall in the attic, revealing her creepy shrine.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's a creepy shrine of that guy. Why is it boarded up? I still don't get why it was boarded up in the first... Plot twist, she murdered this guy, and his body is back there.
Yes.
It takes a while for us to see it, but it's there. And I was like, well, you would think all the other points of this character point to like, oh, she would visit him a lot. Like, it should have been like a hidden wall. Like, she slides a shelf of preserves over and then goes back to see him. But like, she literally had to tear down a wall. Right.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. It should have some sort of access point.
Yeah.
Like like you said, anything will do. Anything that you said, even just a door that's like always locked, that's fine with me.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I finally found my Jan De Bont notes. It's like, it's just, of course that opening looks so
there
good.
It is.
I love that as a way to jazz up your like mediocre movie. It's like, we're gonna spend money on one opening sequence.
We'll accidentally spend money. I don't think they intended it to be like what it was.
But like if you're flipping through cable, right, and you see the opening of this movie, you're like, oh, that's pretty exciting. Like it might get you to stick around a little bit.
Yeah, you got to hope they catch the first 10 minutes.
Yeah. So the ant almost KOs who I have dubbed Reg Lightning.
Yeah,
which,
Reg Lightning.
As I look at it now, sounds like the guy who like lost the match to the famous wrestler in 1985 in your local town. Like, Ric Flair or Hulk Hogan or whomever came into town, and they're like, and their match is against Reg Lightning, and Reg just gets like 7 shades of shit kicked out of him in 4 minutes. And
I was thinking he was like a one-off name, like as Rocky walked past a sign that was like Apollo Creed versus Reg Lightning. Like we never saw it.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
you might see the final punch as Rocky like walks into a room or some shit, but
yes,
Reg Lightning's not key.
The other one I could think of is like either a character in Cars or a race car driver who is like the first obstacle in the racing movie, right? Like Reg Lightning gets defeated and then you go on to the real bad guy.
Oh, yeah. I like that. Apparently everyone knows the coach was gay now.
Yes.
Which, like, when did that happen? I thought the whole point was leave or I'll do it. And now all of a sudden he's quitting and everyone's like, well, he's gay. He's gay now. And it's like, well, hang on. Huh?
Yeah, and it's like, no wonder you were so close to him, Jimmy McNichol, with Bill Paxton.
And Billy pours milk on his head, which is primo.
It's a pretty big time retaliation.
You gotta shower, like shampoo. It's a wash day now.
Well, also it's just like a fist fight is about to break out.
It's a good fight.
Just know that you're starting a fight. Yeah, it honestly seemed to me like the director was like, all right, you two boys figure it out. And then the two of them were just like rolling around on these tables and stuff.
Yeah, it's nice. We cut to some completely inappropriate and unprofessional cop questioning when shithead cop goes up to the driveway while Billy is playing basketball. And he's like, dropping a lot of fags.
Yep. Yeah, and it's like, he has this insanely convoluted story of like you had a thing with the coach or an unrequited thing with the coach and you were jealous and so you killed his lover, and it's like
he thinks he thinks he was sleeping with the repairman and it was a lover's quarrel.
Oh, that's right. Okay,
he thinks it's a whole
connection
triangle.
I thought he thought that the kid liked the coach and had slept with the coach and therefore that was
he thinks
problem.
Coach and repairman and then repairman and Billy.
Got it.
Well, he knows coach and repairman. Being like, oh, so you were sleeping with a very adult man as a 17-year-old, and
right?
Do you hear
you were being actively sexually assaulted?
Do you hear the crime that you're talking about?
That happened. Yeah.
Grooming.
What you're describing? What you're describing is a crime, sir.
But you don't hear it. We get a limp wrist.
Meanwhile,
joke.
The aunt is just going inside the house. She is just pounding on a steak, like as if.
Oh, I missed this
money.
steak. I know there's a steak later.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, the limp wrist.
He makes a limp wrist joke, and I was like, mother. I kept writing, he better die. He better get a good death. I don't want an off screen. Yeah. I don't want a single like slice. I want a meaty death.
Yeah. I definitely don't want the like half-hearted apology Pat and Billy on the. Is it Billy?
It's Billy, yeah.
Okay, Pat and Billy on the show.
I want no apologies. I want to watch the life fade from his eyes.
Kill this man. Yeah.
I want, you know what? No, as we always reference, I want the fucking assistant's death in Jurassic World for this motherfucker.
Yeah, or the lawyer.
Or the lawyer in Jurassic Park.
Really kill this man.
Show me. Let it be satisfying.
Yeah.
We get
Billy finds his coach, who is a wonderful man, like truly a nicely drawn character in the movie.
You also missed the Blue Bloods level cutlery and plate noises at dinner that night.
Oh, maybe that's what I was saying when I meant when she was going.
Yeah,
because there's two scenes. She's just really aggressively.
They're at dinner. And it's very
that's
much
what it
Blue
is.
Bloods of the clink clink clink.
Okay, yeah, she's going in that. It's like it's clearly a prop steak that's been cooked to oblivion because she's going in there like trying to get through this thing.
And so it's very interesting that they chose to make her kind of a religious zealot, but also wants to fuck her nephew / son. Spoiler alert.
Son. Yeah. We'll get to the son thing.
But like, you don't often find that those two things are on the same baseball card.
No, you don't. You don't often.
I feel like you...
Also, isn't the Oedipal thing the other way?
Typically,
like, from
yes.
the child to the parent? Okay.
But I think it's also because they end up sleeping together. I guess theoretically it could be... It could be a two-way street. I don't know. It's been a minute since I read Oedipus. I do remember...
But he doesn't know, I thought.
I don't think either of them know.
Because it's kind of like Old Boy.
Yes. It's. I don't think either of them know that they are related, but then they stoop.
Yeah.
Mostly, I read Oedipus in 10th grade, where my English teacher was like very cool and was like very into creativity for an English teacher.
Was it Mr. A?
No, it was not. He was my senior year.
Okay.
Okay. But she, like, for almost all of our big papers, she was like, you can write a paper or you can do something creative.
Oh, I remember this.
And
I remember
it could be like someone made up a dance that was like a character's journey. Someone, did a staged reading. There were a number of kids like, I'm writing a paper, but she was like, you can work together on something creative. So my friends and I did we called it Oedipus movie, and it was just inspired by all the stupid like parody movies that were coming out. Each scene, it was like 5 scenes from Oedipus, and one was Pirates of the Caribbean, one was something else, and it ended. I was proud of this joke. It ended with High School Musical, where we rewrote the lyrics to the big ending song in High School Musical about how Oedipus is blind, and did the dance from High School Musical while singing about Oedipus being blind now. It was great. I wish I had a video of it somewhere, but it's beautiful and stupid.
That sounds like a delight. I don't remember seeing the video, but I do remember you talking about that teacher before.
Yeah, she was great.
Yeah, no, that's different kids have different talents. It's like, why not, right? Like, what's the difference? This coach is a wonderful man, and even though Billy's mother killed his husband, he has not changed his opinion of Billy as his favorite student and player or whatever, which I find incomprehensible. Like, I'm sorry, you go from number 1 to number 3 when your husband is killed by the parent of this person.
I mean, don't blame the child for the sins of the father.
I'm not saying you go to 10. I'm just saying you fall out of the 1 seed when that happens.
Well, he's also the only kid that like is treating him like a human being now that all of a sudden magically everyone knows he's gay.
Yeah, that's true.
And then, shit. What was I going to say? Hang on.
The big hat?
No, because he's also, it's great that he is a gay character, but is never once portrayed as like a deviant or like a pedophile or a creep.
Or the like stereotypical like flouncy gay person, which is what you would think. Both of these guys are like pretty rugged.
They're blue collar, I would say. A high school gym coach and a TV repairman seems pretty blue collar to me.
Yeah.
But he's like, but of course, they still for some reason had this conversation while Billy is in a towel from the shower. I was like, I know.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
You write
maybe wait 5.
Or have Billy be sweaty from practice. Like, he doesn't.
Yes.
You write the movie. He doesn't have to be in a towel in this scene.
Yeah. Like, have him in his uniform with a towel around his neck because he is sweaty.
Yes. There we go. But the coach is like he's like, look, this is my battle, not yours. But if you need me, I am here for you because I care about you as a person, which is like delightful.
Yes. Yeah. We cut to the police station, and the guy, the lead detective, who is the very definition of all hat and no cattle, has just the biggest set of cow horns on the wall that you could imagine. Like the kind that would go on the front of a car and be too big.
Oh, like tip the car forward. Like Max in the Grinch cartoon, just
yes.
And he's yelling at everyone like, "Hey, you're not arresting enough people." That's great police work. And
definitely.
The coach comes in and is like, "Hey," he's never once admitted to anything, by the way, which I love about the writing in this movie. He's like, "I know you think this was you don't believe that she was raped, but the TV repairman was married to a woman, so." Just do with that what you will.
Yeah.
And this shithead cop is like, I don't know. There's no facts. Get out of here.
I don't want help or to talk about it.
I don't want any facts on this case. I want my feelings. So then this shithead cop goes to Julie's house, and again immediately has the most inappropriate line of questioning for an underage person with no parent or attorney present. He's like, "Hey, you and Billy. You fuck?"
Okay, so here I was like, first of all, the dogs are going insane in this scene again, which makes me think that before I was right that these are not movie dogs, but just dogs.
Well, she has a dog. We do see a dog.
The aunt?
No. Julie has a dog.
Oh,
so I think they were movie dogs.
But I literally wrote my note here. I swear to God, if he asks if they fuck, and then the second sentence out of this man's mouth is, "How is he with you?" Like, what? Are you kidding me?
And she immediately is like, what is she? She goes, she says something to the effect of like, "Sounds like you have a question you really want to ask me, so why don't you go ahead and ask me that?" And I was like, "Work, girl. I love you."
Also, it's so funny to me that like the very obvious thing of she's made up a reason to get away with murder that has no consequences isn't the thing that he's poking holes in.
Yeah.
He's made up his whole own fiction as opposed to like, that excuse is kind of flimsy. Maybe what happened is this man didn't try to rape her and she just did a murder or did rape her and she did a murder.
Because she's admitted to the murder. No. She admitted to killing him.
But she was like, I did it, but, get out of jail free card. And it's like, well, maybe you should examine the get out of jail free card, sir.
Yeah. Pretend she did do it and then figure out the reason why she wasn't raped. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
She fully is like, this is none of your business and this is inappropriate. I'm leaving. And he's like, I think I just got my answer. And it's like, no, you didn't. She very clearly said, get out of here, you creepazoid.
Cut to hands on Billy with the girlfriend, like touching each other.
Well, we didn't know it was the girlfriend at first. There was a very brief second where I thought this was Aunt Cheryl waking Billy up.
Because he has like just a complete stone face as this woman is like rubbing and kissing and touching him. And it's like, oh, is it the aunt? Oh my God. And it's like, no, it's his girlfriend, but he's just like standing there frozen. And it's just like, oh, this poor kid. Well, this is horrible.
It's also,
or this bad actor. I don't know which.
I mean, it could be both. It's also implied that this isn't their first time having sex, which is interesting.
That's true. That's true.
The movie kind of feels like it's building to that, but then she's like, how come we don't have sex that much? And I was like, oh, so this isn't the... Okay.
And he responds to her in like almost the same cadence as a teen ride operator at a mid-tier theme park. Just like completely flat, like, everybody make sure your seatbelts are fastened and we're gonna be launching in. Goodbye, have a good adventure. It's just like, it's just like a string of words with no tonal change whatsoever.
'Cause I was like, oh, is he gay? Is he gonna say it?
Yes.
He's not ever, in the whole movie, he's not gay, by the way, which I think is fascinating.
Yeah.
And not even like
or bi. It's just, there's like...
Not even like he doth protest too much situation. He's just right. I'm not. You're crazy.
The aunt is doing like a Michael Myers POV.
There's a real creepy POV that we think is going to be a murder, and it's just Aunt Cheryl, creepy but not a murder.
And he's getting like a glass of water or something after they've had sex, and he looks out the window the same way a video game character patrols an area.
The little exclamation point for a second.
And the little cone of vision where it's just like he gets to the window and he's like, man, when I'm concerned that there's a noise out my window, I'm going four corners on that bad boy.
I'm turning on all the lights. I am observing everything.
I'm making sure they're not crouched right below the window.
I've seen Scream.
Talking about this. Yeah. He does like a casual like left, right. No, I guess there's nobody out there, and then goes back upstairs.
Shrugs, goes back to his sprite walk in the square.
Yeah, exactly. He seems to have brought back 2 yoo-hoos, which is just
a choice.
Such a bizarre choice for the moment. Have you? When's the last time you had one? It's got to be 35 years for me. Or not quite 30. 30 years easy.
I would say it's probably in that ballpark of 25 years.
Because I like periodically you pick up something from child. Like we drank the Ecto Cooler when it came back out and things like that. Which you're like,
bring it back more. Like, come on, you morons.
Yeah, that one I find weird. But like, I have no desire to drink a Yoo-hoo. Like I'm like, that can't be good.
It's chocolate water.
It cannot. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember this story being told to me that when I was in a long hospital stay,
we both liked it as kids for sure. Yeah. It was in the house.
They wouldn't let me leave till I drank something, and like my roommate had Yoo-hoos, and my mom had to be like, "Can we please have one of your Yoo-hoos so that we can leave this hospital?" So
Yes.
I know that story, and I know I've had them before, but I'm going to say it's been at least 25-ish years since I've had a Yoo-hoo.
My similar you have to eat something before you get out of the hospital story was Dad going downstairs and buying McDonald's hash browns that I just like annihilated.
How old were you?
It was when I had that ear thing, so I was probably, I don't know, 5 to 7. I don't remember. I had a surgery when I was young. I'm nothing long term, but I trying to remember what age I was. I couldn't tell you.
There's also a very interesting moment when she says, like, how come we don't have sex that much? Is there anything you want to talk about? He immediately is like, yeah, I want to talk about how sexy you are. Whomp, and like jumps on top of her. And I was like, I know you're not doing this, but this feels like a deflection, my dude.
Yes.
She says, get the slut out of the house. And then Reg.
Oh, yeah. Oh, also, there's more fire hazard candles in this scene where it's just all over the room are candles. Yeah.
She leaves the house. Julie leaves the house, and Reg Lightning pops out of the bushes at her like a fucking vampire.
Yeah, was he just standing there for hours? Like, what's the situation here?
Did she catch you? What do you mean? Did she catch him doing what, officer? Say it. Say the quiet part out loud.
Yeah. It's like, well, I saw that boy having sex with that girl, so he can't be gay. Like, what are we doing with these characters?
It's so weird. Again, you're all watching teenagers have sex and asking teenagers about sex. This isn't okay.
It's so much effort put in by adults to find out if a teenage boy is having sex.
Yes.
We do see some boy butt here. So a little equality, because we only had brief female nudity in the stabbed to death scene, so pretty equal.
And we see Julie's boobs briefly.
Oh,
so
that's
now we
right.
see his butt. It's a nice little butt.
Yeah.
See, this is the scene where I truly had to be like, well, I'm just not going to understand this dialogue.
Yeah.
He's naked, and Aunt Cheryl's like bursts into the bathroom, and it is like, promise me you'll never do that again. And he grabs a towel, and he's like, I'm 17. It's not that big a deal. Aunt Cheryl says something, and I truly don't know what the subtitles didn't help. I rewound like 3 times.
What did the subtitles say it was?
Oh, I can't even remember.
Okay.
And then she goes, he like mumbles, and she says, promise me? And he says, yes. And she goes, you're such a good boy. And I was like, what did she say?
I think she was just trying to get him to promise that he would not have sex with Julie anymore.
I know, but I don't know. She says, promise you won't do that again. I'm 17. It's not that big a deal. She says something, and then he mumbles. So I'm like, what was the follow-up?
Yeah, I got nothing for you. I was on to the cops discussing theories where Reg is like, actually, I think there's like a pretty good chance that it's the mom, and she's like,
this
just
is
the story's
weird.
wrong.
Here's a weird story about the boy's parents that people think that their brake lines were tampered with, and the cop is like, that sounds like a fact to me, and we don't deal in facts in this precinct.
And then he says, I forbid you from doing your job on company time, basically.
Like, I hope no more of this. I hope you were doing this on personal time. No, I wasn't. This is part of the job, you dipshit.
Yes. So back at home, the aunt is poisoning the milk, and she sets up a big tray of milk and cookies as like a little pregame meal for him. She's like, oh, have something to eat. And it's like, hey, lady, the choice for a high school athlete for a pregame meal is
a lot of wings.
It's 1 slice of cheesesteak pizza, 1 slice of baked ziti pizza, and 1 wild card slice with some vegetables on it, eaten at 3 o'clock for a 7 p.m. football game. That is the standard pregame
I
meal.
do like wild pizzas like that, like French fry pizza.
That I got those 3 things every single time.
Where was this in the Clemens shopping center?
Yes, I think it was called Sal's.
Oh, I didn't know that we had a place like that.
We would walk over there. I'd get 3 slices. I'd consume like 1,000 calories at 3 p.m.
You would stack them and roll them like a taquito. And
no, I ate them like a human, and then go lie about waiting for football to begin.
I mean, that was my drunk coming home from college. I wasn't pre-gaming any. I was coming home from the bars and eating 2 or 3 slices of pizza like that. So
I just feel like a big glass of milk and 4 cookies is a poor choice.
No, I mean, I can see maybe a cookie, like it's a little, it's energy, it's sugar, whatever. But milk seems like a terrible idea.
Yes,
even though you and I are staunchly anti-milk, which not everyone is.
I like milk with some desserts, and it is a thing that my wife's entire family makes fun of me for.
What, do they not?
That's how anti-milk they are.
Oh, they're fully anti-milk. Okay. Yes. They're more like me.
I like milk with pancakes and with like some desserts.
Like a heavy cake.
I like, honestly, like a warm cookie or brownie. I like a milk with, or ice cream if it's available. You know.
Okay. Yeah, like I like milk in my cereal, and occasionally we'll do a milk and a cookie, and that's it. Even drugged and dizzy, Billy's like slaying this fucking basketball game.
Yes. Well, I thought she was trying to kill him, and this is why I was like, oh, she just wants to fuck up his scholarship, which I feel is somehow more evil than just killing him.
I think so. It's more like devious, I think. Also, shockingly, he collapses and she doesn't immediately sprint over. She waits till Julie goes over there, and then
she's like the third person.
Like everything we learned about this character is she would have been already walking before he's falling. Like she's already out of her seat before he hits the back, the padded wall.
The woozy POV is also pretty good.
I like it a lot, yeah.
Like as he's getting dizzy, and then he ends up knocking himself out, which is pretty funny right before he collapses.
And then he comes to in this like creepy baby room.
Well, she's like, we're taking him home. And I'm like, you don't get to choose that. If he collapses at a basketball game, there's an ambulance there and he's getting in it. What are you talking about?
The high school is liable for anything that happened here.
Absolutely. Yeah. You don't get to decide to take him home. No, this is not up to you.
But then, like I said, he wakes up in the creepy baby room with like, like the base with, it looks like a ring holder. I guess it is a ring holder.
Yes.
Like it's got rings on it.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, I gotta go back to school. And she's like, you've learned enough.
I'll teach you.
Oh no. What's happening?
We gotta get out of here. She's dosing more milk, and I was like, I really hope she accidentally drinks this dosed milk. Like
it would be very funny.
I want
if that's
some
how this
like
was all.
I hope this kind of comes back like a petard situation.
Yeah.
Oh, so she pulls out a small Ark of the Covenant and is like,
yes.
Is like, this charm bracelet was your mother's. She wore it when she died. And she tries to put it on him and he's like, no. And she's like, well, you're being rude. I'll hide my Ark of the Covenant away.
Yeah. And it's like, is this baby stuff? No, it's all about your parents. Like, what the hell's going on?
And then he snoops around and finds a letter from Chuck.
Also, this is when we have learned by proxy that his dad was a Pandora man, which I already think less of him. And like, well, maybe he did deserve to die.
That's not a Pandora charm bracelet.
I mean, if the best you could offer your grown adult wife is like a bracelet normally given to preteen girls, you're doing bad, is what I'm saying.
I would agree. But there's a very specific look to the Pandora bracelet.
Right.
So he finds out that Chuck, the guy from the pictures from earlier, was not his mother's old boyfriend. It was Aunt Cheryl's old boyfriend.
Right.
And she like screams.
This is when he's searching the box, right?
Yeah. She's screaming at him.
Like, how dare you invade my privacy? And he calls her out, right? He's like, he was your boyfriend.
Yeah, and she gets, but again, like people are dumb in movies. You pretend you saw nothing.
Yeah.
Because you are in her room. She's between you and the door. What are you going to do, buddy?
Right. You've made a bad decision unless you have a weapon.
Exactly. And then we cut to the police station where Reg Lightning is like, you know, in old like Tex Avery cartoons, it was like the Acme box of something. He's like, oh, I have another Acme. Oh, yeah, another Acme box of evidence against this woman.
Yes.
Turns out her high school boyfriend was an much older man who disappeared, leaving everything behind. And the asshole cop is like, again, that sounds like a fact. We don't do facts.
The asshole cop is in the middle of physically assaulting a person who doesn't speak English.
With a gun.
And threatening to deport them. And pointing a gun at their face.
And he's like, this sounds stupid. I don't know. This has nothing to do with the case.
This man dared to speak Spanish in America, so this man's pointing a gun at him. The auntie gets a new haircut.
It's...
Here's where I finally wrote down. She was in The Christmas Star with Ed Asner that we did for Christmas a couple years ago. I knew she was in something from previous.
Is that the one with Santa in the...
Ed Asner pretends to be Santa. He's like a convict on the run, and the kids think
it's the one that
Santa.
It was the Whistle Down the Wind, but worse.
Yes. And there's like a treasure hidden in a Santa chair or something.
Cheryl...
So... There's like a plot happening here between the Billy and the girlfriend. She's like running a screen on the aunt, which is like a terribly
Billy slides a note under the door, and then he goes to see her, and he's like, you have to distract her so I can look at the Ark of the Covenant. And I was like, bad move, mon frere. That is not going to end well.
Right. So she's like, if I'm her, I'm like, let me go look for the Ark of the Covenant. She won't kill you.
She probably won't kill you.
She's
In a
definitely
fast
not
way.
afraid to kill me. Yeah.
So it's weird because like Billy leaves a note and then sneaks out and then comes back and it's like a whole big convoluted plan. We finally see Chuck's body. Took a while. We finally see it in the cellar.
Yeah. It's a desiccated husk in the root cellar.
Yeah. Julie knocks on the door and then goes into the house and I was like, oh, I don't
like
the
this.
porch. I think the porch is a good space for you, Julie.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
We get some real ominous meat tenderizing with a mallet.
Yes, the second time she destroys the steak.
Yeah.
This time is the mallet. Yeah.
Julie, you in danger, girl.
And they like there's like a whole conversation which ends with the aunt being like, I completely understand. Give me a hug. And Julie gives her a hug, which I was like, there's no way I'm hugging this woman right now.
No.
Because she's still holding the cleaver or the meat tenderizer. I'm like, that thing's coming to the back of my skull the minute that we get close. And no, that's not it. She's like, get me a steak out of the fridge. I guess for her to join for dinner, I think is the
I think
conceit
that's the implication.
And the minute she turns her back on this woman, she gets clobbered in the head. I'm like, Julie, come on,
Julie. And Billy somehow doesn't hear any of this upstairs.
No, his girlfriend's body slumping lifelessly to the floor.
His aunt is screaming at an 11, and Julie's slumped on the floor, and he doesn't hear anything. Now she's really overdosing the milk. Before she had like the dropper, she was like squeezing a couple things, a few drops into a glass, a few drops into the thing. She dumps the whole bottle in.
She's poured so much in that it would be impossible not to taste this.
Yeah, it would be you would smell it.
Yeah.
The neighbor lady stops over. And this is, again, I love the neighbor lady because she starts to laugh at the haircut and sees that Cheryl is like on the verge of a nervous breakdown or in the process.
Also, I could not believe that this woman walks into the house, lets herself in, and immediately pours herself a cup of coffee. It's just like, well, I'm going to have this here.
Well, I think there are friends that I have that we are at that level. I would feel fine with that.
The coffee is just so strange to me. Like this late night coffee is like, oh, this is what I'm going to have. Like what time of day is it? Why is there a pot of coffee on and why are you drinking it?
Yeah, there's a lot. People do that a lot. But she laughs at the haircut and then is like, oh, this woman is mid breakdown. This is Michelle Pfeiffer in Batman Returns. Like, I'm watching it happen. And you see her course correct. Like, you know what? No, I like it a lot. And then when Billy comes in, he starts to be like, what the fuck did you do to your hair? And the neighbor grabs his wrist and she's like, isn't it great? It's all the fashion. We are okay with this, Billy.
Yes. Yeah.
No one notices the blood inside the fridge.
It's all over the inside of the fridge. And this kid is always housing milk in this. He like this character doesn't take
leave it to beaver ass.
It's always like like just slamming a glass of milk.
He passes out again, and I'm like, "Hey, neighbor lady, you should be suspicious of this."
Yes, yeah, for sure.
But
also, this is where I thought that the neighbor lady was in on the whole thing.
I kind of had that vibe for a second, but I was like, I think she knows the score, but is like, I'm not dying. Which fair.
Also, Shitty Cop was in both Inglourious Basterds movies.
I did see that.
The original and the remake, yeah.
Which I didn't realize the remake was a remake. I thought it was just like the same title.
Yeah, I think it's a similar plot. I'm not sure if it's exactly a remake.
Because they're spelled, the remake has the ERDS.
Right. And I think the U in Inglourious.
Oh, yeah, which I just assumed was British.
Yeah.
And I will quote that movie by saying, the only good homophobe is a dead homophobe. That's that movie, right? With Nazis?
We get the birth certificate, and then we get the whole story finally spills out here, which is just like, again, too many patties on the burger. She's actually his mother, and the sister and the sister's husband adopted him because she couldn't take care of him, and then she couldn't handle that, so she killed them to get the boy back because they wouldn't give the boy back. But I'm just wondering, like, why didn't she just raise this boy as his mother then? Like, why? Like, what is the purpose of this? I don't understand the scheme.
Yeah, I don't really know. I guess because maybe people didn't know she was pregnant.
But she like could have moved anywhere. Like you don't have to stay in the town.
Well, it's like that was a plot point. She said, I lived my whole life in this house. It's not for sale.
Yeah, I don't know. I just found this very bizarre.
Yeah, it's a weird twist. Because the neighbor lady hears it. The neighbor's seen one too many murder she wrote, and she's like, well, I'll leave.
Yeah.
And she'd like, well,
This neighbor is a lady who listens to too many true crime podcasts and gets her ass burnt because of it.
yeah. She's like, well, I'll head out now. Clip, clop. She does. I mean, she does later open the door and close it, but I'm picturing her like just with her mouth sounds.
Yes. That's basically what she does.
The neighbor lady hides in the closet and then decides to confront Cheryl. And I was like, I love your moxie. Love your chutzpah.
Yes.
Maybe just call the police.
Yeah. Also, if you're going to do this, probably want to grab that poker from the fireplace, don't you think?
Or a cleaver or a knife or a mallet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because earlier, Billy, she says, oh, yeah, Julie stopped by but left. She'll call you later. Then Julie's mom calls her and goes, I haven't seen her all day. And that's when the neighbor's like, well, I thought you said this from like behind her. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, no. I love that you're doing this, but you got to get out of this house.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, Reg is talking to Julie's mom and then like gets all this information as well.
Decides to go to the house.
And Margie, the nosy neighbor, finds Julie's backpack hidden in the closet.
And camera. And I was like, you get
right,
out
yeah.
of this house, Marge. Get out of the house and call the police. Call it from your house.
So at this point is where I I learned like, oh, Coach is like saves the day. And I was like waiting for the hero moment. Yeah, he's like there, but not, yeah. Oh, Coach is in Killers of the Flower Moon, which I still haven't seen.
Oh.
And Austin Powers, apparently.
Is he like a Manning crowd?
I don't remember. He was in it. He didn't have a name. He wasn't a character that I recognized the name of, and that was as far as I was willing to go on this journey.
I wonder if he's the Lucky Charms assassin, because they kind of have a similar face, I think.
Oh, I could see that. They force milk on Billy, or the aunt forces milk.
She like
mom
waterboards him with milk and then licks it up like a cat.
Yeah,
which the symbolism
she,
pervert.
She's licking up the poisoned milk, though.
Oh shit! I didn't even catch that. I
what? Yeah, it's like I get your symbolism, but we watched her put poison in it. Why are you licking it?
Well, the symbolism in general of like mother's milk is poisoned.
Right.
This is where the neighbor's like, I found the umbrella and I'm gonna leave. Opens the door, shuts it.
Yes. Yeah. Julie's alive,
thank
which
God.
I was truly shocked by.
With Chuck's preserved head.
Yeah, she's in the trophy room, basically.
Because I was like, where is Chuck's head? It's weird that it's not there.
Yeah.
It's
Margie enters to some truly wild-ass music as she approaches the confrontation here.
Marge leaves the house, right? At this point? Like running through the woods?
She gets killed with the machete.
Outside. She's like walking around outside.
Yeah. But I was just saying the music in this sequence is like so out of character with the rest of the movie. Yeah.
Cheryl kills her real quick with the machete. I was like, because she starts purring at her from the trees.
Yes. Yeah. I thought that was kind of fun, like crazy person business.
Yeah, we'll call back to the beginning of the movie when she purrs at what's his face, Billy.
Right.
There's is this hair? Oh, Cheryl is hiding in this like, we don't know where the hell this room is on the house. It's like a shed, but it's built into the house that Julie tries to hide in, and Cheryl's there.
It's like an add-on, yeah.
And then the nice cop comes in and gets his hand chopped off and then gets killed.
Yeah, Reg gets a pretty rough death in this movie, both behanded and beheaded.
It's a nice visual.
Yeah.
So they run, and then there's this weird, like, crocodilian water grapple, like, death roll that they do.
I don't know that I remember this. I remember getting tangled in the rope.
She throws rope at Cheryl, and then they run outside, and they fall into this, like, pond. It's like shallow pond.
Yeah,
and they're like
yes.
crocodile death rolling each other.
She's like trying to drown her in a very shallow pool of water.
And then they're drowning each other, and then Cheryl beats her head in with a rock, and I was like, well, that's a weird death that they let her survive this far.
Yeah.
Billy makes his way down the stairs and tries to like call someone, we don't know who, and then the like young Jason Voorhees, dirty gooped up Aunt Cheryl, tries to strangle him with the phone and is like, well, you're gonna betray me, and then he stabs her with a letter opener.
Also, she says, "I'm your girlfriend now."
Oh yeah, I'm your girlfriend now.
My sister tried to take you away from me.
Chuck lied to me. You lied to me. So he calls his coach, is who we find out. After he stabs his mom, he calls his coach, very distraught. And the coach is like, I'll be right there. And then, of course, she pops up because we knew she was going to pop back up.
Right. Yeah, I've seen a movie before,
Yeah.
sir or madam.
Didn't I see this movie?
Yeah, exactly. So I thought it was going to be Coach like coming into the rescue, like saving the day, shooting her, or something like that.
Yeah. Well, Coach is gay, and gay men can't do that. Gay men can't be strong and save the day. They can be treated like human beings, but they cannot be the hero.
Yeah. Or even if just as like Coach arrives with the cops would have been fine.
Yeah. They grapple and fight, and she ends up getting impaled on a fire poker.
Pretty good looking effect here, I thought.
Oh, yeah. Then we smash cut to outside where shithead cop shows up, and a cop is with the neighbor's body. And then he's like, oh, by the way, nice cop is dead in the shed. And then he comes into the scene of the coach, like being a respectable human and like cleaning up this boy's wounds
Billy.
and comforting him. And I was like, you mother fucking fuck, get out of here.
Meanwhile, Julie comes in, still not dead, miraculously.
The unkillable Julie.
She's like fucking Dewey in the Scream movies. It's just like, well, not gonna kill her.
The unsinkable
Honestly,
Julie.
I just watched Not Another Teen Movie, and it's like the scene at the end where both Chris Evans and the best friend like run to confess their love, and the guy's been like hit by a car, falling down a flight of stairs, and his like teeth are all fucking missing, and he's like dragging a leg, and his shirt's all ripped. And Julie comes in and she's like, "Okay, here's exactly what happened. The aunt was crazy.
I watched her kill the cop.
I watched her kill the cop. I found the dead neighbor. She hit me in the head with the mallet. She threw me down the stairs. She tried to drown me. She hit me in the head with a rock." And the cop's like, yeah. Shut your uterus.
Those sound like facts to me. And we don't do
That sounds
facts.
like lady talk. I don't need to hear from you. It's clearly these gay guys.
And then she's like, the other cop is like, he's like, my hands are tied. I have to escort you out of here. And it's like, no, you don't.
Yes, it's like the other.
He's not like the fucking president. Like, it's not.
Yeah, it's like the uniformed officer and he's the detective, and the uniformed officer truly shrugs and is like, "Nothing I can do." Like, what do you mean?
What do you mean nothing you can do? You're also here.
He's pulling a gun. He doesn't need to be doing that
on a child.
Yeah.
The coach hits the gun. And then Billy picks it up, and all of a sudden, oh, Billy, you won't fire that gun. Well, I thought he was a bloodthirsty, deviant faggot.
Yeah,
Which
exactly.
is it? Which is it, buddy?
Yeah.
And then, I didn't expect it. I was like, well, Cheryl's dead, whatever. The movie, Billy kills the cop.
Yes.
The cop who was like not a murderer, who was not the crazy person, who was just a hateful, mean person. Just got killed for being hateful and mean, which like
he gets killed the way that the final girl usually kills the baddie, where it's just like 3 big ringing shots
apparently
to the chest.
One of the squibs was backwards once and hurt him.
Oh, that sucks.
He got a little burned by one, but like this character, I was like, this is the death I wanted for this character, but it's so strange. He's not the like.
No.
He's a villain, but he's not the villain of the movie.
Right.
Like 2023 people view him as a villain, but I don't know that 1981 people viewed him as a proper villain like that. But it's wild that the final boy shoots and kills this homophobic cop, ostensibly for being homophobic, which again, the only good homophobe is a dead homophobe. Eat shit.
Right. Yeah. And then we like freeze frame where it's like, Julie,
he got acquitted.
Billy,
Julie and him went to college. We don't talk about the coach. Like the coach can't get a byline.
Friend. Yeah. Oh, but like it's like a freeze frame, and I was like, wow, what an ending. And then we get the like text on screen of it quickly explaining what happened next. And I was like, why is that there? That doesn't need to be in this movie.
But if you're gonna do that and not say anything about the coach, it's just Billy got acquitted. Billy and Julie went to college. Fuck that guy, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, the one who was there for Billy when he needed him.
Yeah, yeah.
Like they could have thrown the coach. It teaches. The coach is now coach at the university. It's like something. Come on.
It could have Coach got his job back. You know, would have been fine.
Yeah. Although I don't think he wants to be in that town anymore. He has to get out of that town.
I mean, that's fine, but I just I don't need him to become an NBA champion. I just give him a little job.
Or like I said, just have him follow the kid to college, like every other movie and TV show do.
Like the Mr. Feeney ending that's a little silly.
Yeah, whatever. He clearly knew someone at the college anyways, so it makes sense.
Yeah, that's true. He did have the connection with the scout. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, any ending would have been fine, but it's funny that they leave him out. But I had a ball with this. It's so weird. It's so thoroughly weird. I wish I wrote down her name. Do you have the name of the actress who plays the aunt?
I didn't write it down.
Okay. She's really committed and going for it here, and it's the kind of fun thing that makes elevates one of these movies from middle of the road to fun is when someone's just yeah, I don't know, I'm just going to be insane.
That's what I think that's what Leonard Maltin said. He was like, without her, this is a bad movie.
Oh, I mean, it would be unwatchable with almost any, even just 10% less wild performance. This is less fun.
It's a Piper Laurie and Carrie. It's a Betsy Palmer and Friday the 13th. It's like a big swing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a really big swing. I actually think this is. I wouldn't want to switch them and put the other performance in the other movie, but I think this is more important here than Betsy Palmer is in Friday the 13th, because all the other parts of Friday the 13th are decent.
Not her. Yeah.
Yeah. And Betsy Palmer is good in it and such, but if you didn't have the good Betsy Palmer in Friday the 13th, it's still pretty good. If you didn't have this lady here, it's
a bad
unwatchable.
Movie.
Yeah. Because Jimmy McNichol stinks. I mean, he is really not good.
He's handsome, and that's about it.
That's all you got going for you. Yeah. But yeah, this is a hoot. This is really fun, weird business.
I wish I hadn't waited so long to watch it, but I'm glad I watched it for this.
Yeah. I was really, really enjoying this. Very, very delightful. I thought this was excellent. Really worth your time. Like Andrew said, it's on AMC Plus. I'm sure you can find it for rent elsewhere, fairly inexpensively. But this is the good one. This is worth seeking out. One of the fun Halloween, clearly ripping off Halloween in parts, but that era of slasher.
Yeah.
Great start to APTSITMOA 2024. Thank you so much for listening. If you haven't yet, review the show. We read those on the air. Oh, I forgot to mention, this is the 36th most popular film podcast in Norway. I should have said that at the top of the show. Just, I get the chart updates and they always swing wildly around. But last week, 36th most popular film review podcast in
We'll
Norway.
Come do a live show in Norway. I almost said Norwegian. In Norway.
If you're a listener in Norway, please say hello, because there must be some of you out there listening. We'd love to hear from you. Say hello to us at Dissect the 80s on Twitter /X. Say hi to us on Facebook. If there's another social media we should be on, I suck at them and I'm not good at it, but I'd like to be better. So if there's a place you would rather see our content, let us know. I would appreciate that. You can always email us at dissectingthe80s@gmail.com. Don't forget to visit us on Patreon, patreon.com/dissectingthe80s, where you can get 24 bonus episodes of the show, totaling almost 34 hours, with another one coming your way this month. So go check that out. Our 25th Patreon episode will be up for the $5 and up members starting this month. So it'll be up later this month. Go check that out, patreon.com/dissectingthe80s. We'll be back in 2 weeks to talk about the next APTSITMOA pick.
Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. Another one that I've seen clips of, but never the whole thing. And the remake is coming out.
Oh, okay. Who's in the remake?
I don't know. I think it looks like a predominantly black cast.
Okay.
I did see, I think it's Nicole Richie, isn't it?
Oh,
as a smaller part.
Okay, sure. I would hope so.
Yeah. I think it's Nicole Richie.
Perhaps she's the dead babysitter?
No, she's not, because I think the dead babysitter is like an old lady in these movies.
Oh, okay. We'll be back in 2 weeks. That's April 15th, tax day, for Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. And we'll remind you to make sure you send your taxes in, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. I've been Trip Lano.
I will always be Andrew Lano.
Until next time. Meow.
Dissecting the 80s is a Chum Some of This production.